Ladies and gentlemen, there comes a point in every soul's journey when the search for belonging begins to echo louder than ever. You might have felt it, a quiet ache in your heart, a yearning for deeper conversations, for relationships that nourish rather than drain, for connection beyond blood or background. That ache, that longing, it's your soul calling out for your tribe. Your soul tribe is not bound by DNA, proximity, or convenience. They are the people whose energy aligns with yours, who understand your silence, who see your growth without fear or envy. They may not walk in with fanfare, but when they arrive, you will know. Today, I want to share with you 5 powerful truths about how to connect with your spiritual family, your soul tribe, and step into a deeper, richer, and more aligned version of your life. Number 1, first, become who you truly are. Before you can truly find your soul tribe, you must become who you truly are. This is not always easy, and it's certainly not instant. It requires honesty, bravery, and the willingness to peel away years, sometimes decades, of conditioning. From the moment we are born, the world begins telling us who we should be. We are taught what is acceptable, what is polite, what is expected. We learn to suppress the parts of ourselves that seem too loud, too sensitive, too different. And over time, many of us lose sight of our true essence. We become versions of ourselves designed to fit in, to survive, to be liked. But the soul tribe you long for cannot connect with a mask. They can only find you when you are being authentically, unapologetically yourself. Becoming who you truly are means letting go of the fear that you are too much or not enough. It means embracing the parts of yourself that you once tried to hide, the quirks, the dreams, the deep thoughts, the strange passions. It means no longer shrinking to make others comfortable. You have to honor your truth, even when it's inconvenient, even when it makes others uncomfortable. Because when you stand in your truth, your energy shifts. And that energy becomes a signal, a beacon, that draws in people who resonate with the real you. This journey begins by asking yourself some deep, sometimes uncomfortable questions. What do I believe in? What lights me up? What do I value, even when no one else agrees? Who am I when no one is watching? These are the questions that bring you home to yourself. And when you begin answering them honestly, even if those answers disrupt the life you've built or the image you've maintained, you are beginning the most sacred journey of all. Becoming yourself. Becoming your true self also requires healing. So often we bury who we are because of pain. Maybe someone mocked you for being emotional, so you learned to hide your feelings. Maybe you were told to be realistic, so you stopped dreaming. Maybe you were different, and instead of being celebrated, you were made to feel like an outsider. These wounds don't just hurt, they shape who we become, but you are not your pain, you are not your past. You are not the labels others have given you. You are something far deeper, and to rediscover that, you have to be willing to confront the layers of protection you've built over the years. Healing is not about becoming someone new. It's about remembering who you were before the world told you who to be. It's about releasing shame, forgiving yourself, and stepping into the light of self-acceptance. It's realizing that you don't need to be perfect to be loved. You just need to be real. As you begin to embody your true self, the world around you will shift. Some people may fall away. That's okay. When you stop pretending, you may no longer fit into the boxes others placed you in. That can be painful, but it's also necessary. Your soul tribe cannot enter your life while you're still surrounded by those who don't truly see you. Letting go of what's false creates space for what's real. And once you begin to show up as your full self, the people who are meant for you will start to appear. Not because you went looking for them, but because you finally allowed yourself to be found. Living authentically means following your inner compass, even when it takes you off the beaten path. It means trusting your intuition, expressing your truth, and honoring your uniqueness. It means being vulnerable, even when it feels risky. But the reward is profound. When you become who you truly are, life begins to feel aligned, your relationships deepen, your creativity flows, your peace expands. And you start to feel a sense of belonging, Not because you changed to fit in, but because you finally fit with people who love you for exactly who you are. You don't need to shout to be heard by your soul tribe. You just need to speak your truth. You don't need to chase to impress or to prove yourself. You just need to show up, fully, openly, and honestly. That is your power. That is your magic. So let go of the masks. Release the roles you were never meant to play. Step into your truth, not with fear, but with pride. You are not too much. You are not too different. You are not too anything. You are exactly as you are meant to be. And the more you live in that truth, the more the universe will align the right people, experiences, and opportunities with your path. The journey to your soul tribe begins with a single decision: to be yourself. Not the version of you that keeps everyone happy, not the version that plays it safe, but the one that sets your soul on fire. That version of you is waiting, and once you allow it to shine, your soul tribe will see you, recognize you, and walk beside you. Not because you became who they wanted, but because you became who you were always meant to be. Number 2, pay attention to energy, not appearances. In a world that often prioritizes appearances, status, and surface-level charm, it's easy to overlook what truly matters when it comes to connection. We're taught to judge people based on how they look, what they wear, how they speak, or what they do. But when it comes to finding your soul tribe, the people who truly resonate with your spirit, appearances can be misleading. The truth is, genuine connection isn't found in what meets the eye, but in what is felt. That's why it's so important to pay attention to energy, not appearances. Energy doesn't lie. While someone may present themselves in a certain way on the outside, their energy will always tell the deeper truth. Have you ever met someone who seemed perfect on paper, who said all the right things, but something about them just didn't feel right? Or maybe you met someone who didn't fit the image of what you thought your kind of person would look like, but the connection was undeniable. That's energy speaking. That's intuition whispering that something deeper is happening, something real. Learning to tune into energy requires that you slow down and become present. In a fast-paced world, we often rush through interactions, focusing on words and gestures while ignoring the subtle cues of energy. But when you pause and pay attention, you begin to notice how people make you feel. Do you feel calm and grounded in their presence? Do you feel energized, seen, and safe? Or do you feel drained, anxious, or unsure? These feelings are not random. They are your inner guidance helping you navigate who is aligned with your soul and who is not. Your soul tribe won't always show up in the way you expect. They may not dress like you, think like you, or live the same lifestyle. But you will feel a natural pull toward them, a sense of familiarity that transcends time or logic. It may feel like you've known them forever, even if you've just met. Conversations flow effortlessly. Silences feel comfortable, and there's a mutual respect and understanding that doesn't need to be explained. That's the power of energy. It bypasses the mind and speaks directly to the heart. On the other hand, appearances can be deceiving. Someone may look the part, successful, charming, confident, but their energy may carry insecurity, arrogance, or manipulation. If you only rely on what your eyes see, you may find yourself in relationships that look good on the outside, but feel empty or heavy on the inside. That's why it's essential to trust how someone's presence affects your spirit, not just how they present themselves to the world. This becomes even more important when you're on a path of growth and healing. As you evolve, your energy becomes more sensitive. You begin to notice when someone is not being authentic, even if they seem nice. You start to feel the dissonance between what someone says and what they actually mean. This sensitivity is a gift. It helps you protect your peace and align with those who are operating from a place of sincerity, love, and truth. When seeking your soul tribe, let go of rigid expectations about what your people are supposed to look like or where you'll find them. They might show up in unexpected places. They might not fit into the image you've carried. But if you stay open and let energy lead the way, you'll begin to attract those who truly align with your frequency. These are the people who celebrate your growth, hold space for your pain, and remind you of your light when you forget it. They don't compete, compare, or judge. Their energy supports yours. Their presence brings peace. To connect on this level, you must also become aware of your own energy. What are you radiating into the world? Are you being authentic, grounded, and open? Or are you guarded, disconnected, or still performing for acceptance? The energy you emit influences who is drawn to you. When you're aligned with your truth, you naturally attract those who resonate with that vibration. It's also important to understand that your soul tribe may not be large. These aren't just people to hang out with or pass time. They're mirrors of your inner self, companions on your soul journey. Even one or two genuine connections rooted in energy can change your entire life. These are the people who show up for you not out of obligation, but out of deep soul recognition. They may enter your life quietly, but their impact is profound and lasting. In the end, the most beautiful and fulfilling connections in life aren't measured by how they look. They're measured by how they feel. They make you feel seen, safe, and inspired. So trust your inner compass. Trust the way someone's presence speaks to you beyond words. Don't be swayed by appearances, because what truly matters cannot be seen with the eyes. It must be felt with the heart. When you start honoring that truth, you'll stop chasing people who look good for your image and start connecting with people who are good for your soul. And that's where your tribe is waiting, beneath the surface, beyond the noise, in the space where only energy can speak. Number 3. Heal so you can recognize the right people. Healing is not just about feeling better, it's about seeing clearer. It's about removing the emotional fog that clouds your vision so you can recognize the people who truly belong in your life. When you've been hurt, betrayed, or neglected, it can distort how you perceive relationships. Pain teaches us to be cautious, to build walls, to expect disappointment. And while those defenses may have once protected you, they can also block you from receiving the love, support, and connection you deeply crave. That's why healing is essential, so you can recognize the right people when they show up. Unhealed wounds often create confusion between what feels familiar and what is actually good for us. If you've grown up around dysfunction, chaos may feel normal. If you've been surrounded by criticism, unconditional acceptance might feel suspicious. If you've always had to prove your worth, being loved without conditions might feel too easy to trust. In other words, your past pain can trick you into running from what's safe and clinging to what's harmful. That's why healing is not optional. It's the key to awakening your discernment, to understanding who truly aligns with your soul. When you begin to heal, you start recognizing patterns, not just in others, but in yourself. You notice the ways you've been choosing people who reflect your unhealed parts. Maybe you've always attracted people who don't prioritize you because deep down, you didn't believe you were worthy of being chosen. Maybe you tolerated disrespect because you were afraid of being alone. These realizations can be painful, but they are powerful. They are signs that your awareness is rising, that your heart is learning a new rhythm, that you're no longer willing to settle for connections that wound instead of heal. Healing also teaches you boundaries. When you're unhealed, you might let people cross your lines out of fear of rejection. You might silence your needs to keep the peace, but healing helps you honor your worth. You begin to recognize that saying no isn't selfish, it's sacred. That protecting your energy isn't rude, it's necessary. And as you build stronger boundaries, you start to notice who respects them and who resists them. The right people will never punish you for having standards. They'll rise to meet them. But you'll only be able to tell the difference when you've done the inner work to know what you deserve. Another gift of healing is emotional clarity. When your heart is cluttered with unresolved pain, it's hard to distinguish love from attachment, kindness from manipulation, or excitement from anxiety. You might mistake intensity for intimacy, or control for care. But healing brings peace to your nervous system. It helps you feel what calm connection really feels like. The right people won't trigger survival responses. They'll invite rest, trust, and authenticity. And when you've healed, that peace won't feel boring. It will feel like home. Healing also strengthens your relationship with yourself. The more you understand and accept yourself, the easier it becomes to recognize others who see and value you too. You won't need to chase people or prove your worth. You'll no longer feel drawn to relationships that require you to abandon yourself, because healing teaches you that real connection starts from within. When you are deeply connected to your own soul, your energy naturally draws in those who reflect that same wholeness. You become a magnet for aligned relationships, not because you're seeking them desperately, but because your vibration has shifted. It's important to remember that healing is not a destination. It's a lifelong process. You don't need to be fully healed to experience love, but you do need to be aware. You need to be present enough with your own emotions to recognize when something feels off. You need to be honest enough with yourself to admit when a relationship is draining your light instead of nourishing it. Healing gives you that honesty. It allows you to choose connection from a place of power, not pain. The truth is, your soul tribe could already be near you, but if you're still carrying wounds that distort your perception, you may overlook them. You might push away those who care or chase after those who don't. You might close your heart to protect yourself and, in doing so, miss out on the very love you long for. But when you choose to heal, the fog lifts, your intuition sharpens, your heart softens. And suddenly, you begin to see people for who they really are, not who you hope they'll be, or who they pretend to be, but who they are at the soul level. Healing doesn't just change how you feel. It changes who you see, how you relate, and what you allow into your life. It opens your eyes to the kind of love that doesn't hurt, the kind of friendships that uplift, the kind of people who love you as you are, not as someone you have to become. And perhaps most beautifully, it reconnects you with the deep knowing that you are worthy, not because you've earned it, but because you exist. So take the time to heal, not just to move on from your past, but to transform the way you experience the present. Heal so you can stop repeating cycles. Heal so you can stop mistaking wounds for worth. Heal so when the right people come along, those whose souls speak the same language as yours, you can recognize them, receive them, and walk with them into the next beautiful chapter of your journey. Number 4, create space for aligned relationships. In order to invite aligned relationships into your life, you must first create space for them. This isn't just about physical proximity or having time in your schedule. It's about emotional, mental, and energetic room in your heart and life. When you're filled up with connections that no longer serve you, patterns that drain your spirit, or habits that keep you stuck in the past, there's simply no room for the right people to enter. Creating space is an intentional process, one that requires courage, self-awareness, and a willingness to let go of the familiar, even when it's comfortable. Many of us hold on to relationships out of obligation, fear of loneliness, or nostalgia for what once was. We keep people in our lives who no longer align with who we're becoming, hoping they'll change or fearing we won't find better. But in doing so, we block the flow of what is meant for us. Energy cannot circulate in a crowded space. If your heart is cluttered with unresolved attachments, if your time is consumed by relationships that exhaust you, and if your boundaries are constantly being pushed or ignored, aligned relationships cannot thrive there. Creating space starts with honesty. You must ask yourself which relationships are nourishing and which are depleting, which ones support your growth and which ones keep you anchored in a version of yourself you've outgrown. This isn't about blaming others. It's about recognizing that not every connection is meant to last forever. Some people are chapters in your story, not the whole book. And part of honoring your journey is knowing when a chapter has come to an end. Letting go doesn't always mean cutting ties in anger. Sometimes it's a quiet release, a shift in energy, a decision to no longer invest in something that no longer feels aligned. It's stepping back, not out of resentment, but out of love for yourself. It's choosing peace over chaos, alignment over attachment, and in that release you begin to free yourself, and the other person as well. Creating space also means healing old wounds that keep you stuck in the past. If your heart is still tangled in pain from relationships that hurt you, betrayed you, or left you feeling unworthy, There may not be room for new connections to take root. Pain takes up space. Fear takes up space. Doubt takes up space, and when those emotions sit unchecked, they leave little room for the trust, joy, and intimacy that aligned relationships bring. You must be willing to feel, to process, to release. Not to forget, but to make space for something better. Sometimes creating space means being alone for a while. This can feel uncomfortable, especially if you're used to always having people around. But solitude isn't emptiness, it's preparation. It's the sacred pause where you reconnect with your own essence. In that quiet, you rediscover what matters to you, what you want in relationships, what your soul truly needs. And the more comfortable you become with your own company, the less likely you are to settle for relationships that don't reflect your worth. Space must also be created in your energy. This means releasing limiting beliefs that block connection. If you believe all people are untrustworthy, you'll subconsciously reject those who try to love you. If you believe you're not worthy of healthy relationships, you'll attract people who confirm that belief. Creating space means shifting those narratives. It means replacing fear with openness, self-doubt with self-love, and cynicism with hope. It's not just about removing what doesn't serve you, it's about making room for what does. Aligned relationships cannot grow in a crowded, chaotic environment. They need room to breathe, space to evolve, and openness to thrive. When your life is filled with noise, emotional drama, unresolved pain, people-pleasing habits, it becomes hard for something real to enter. But when you clear out the clutter, when you say no to what no longer feels right, you create a fertile ground where real, deep, soul-level connections can begin to bloom. This process requires trust. Trust that by letting go, you're not losing, you're making room. Trust that what is meant for you will never require you to betray yourself. Trust that the universe, God, or life itself will not leave you empty, but will meet you in your openness with something far greater than what you've released. It's in the space you create that alignment happens. It's in the emptiness that clarity arrives. It's in the surrender that transformation begins. So don't be afraid to make space. Don't be afraid to outgrow relationships that no longer feel aligned. Don't be afraid to walk alone for a season while the right ones find their way to you. You are not meant to carry everyone with you. You are meant to walk in truth, in alignment, and in connection with those who see you, honor you, and grow with you. But they can't enter until there's space. They can't stay until you've made room, and they can't find you until you've made yourself ready to receive. Creating space is not about isolation. It's about invitation. It's about inviting what's real, what's nourishing, and what's aligned to take root in your life. Clear the space, set the intention, and trust that your soul tribe is already on their way. Number 5. Lead with love, openness, and intuition. When it comes to forming deep, meaningful, and lasting connections, especially with your soul tribe, the way you show up matters just as much as who shows up. One of the most powerful ways to attract aligned relationships is by leading with love, openness, and intuition. These three forces are not just qualities to aspire to. They are energetic beacons that signal to others who you truly are and what kind of connection you're ready to create. Leading with love means choosing to approach every interaction from a place of compassion rather than fear. It's choosing to believe in the good, even when you've been hurt before. It's deciding to keep your heart soft in a world that often rewards hardness. Love is not weakness, it's courage. It takes strength to show up as your whole self, to care deeply, and to offer kindness without needing something in return. When you lead with love, you disarm the defensiveness in others. You create a safe space for authenticity, for truth, for vulnerability. And in that space, real connection begins to grow. Love in its truest form is unconditional. It doesn't mean you allow yourself to be mistreated or stay in unhealthy dynamics. Rather, it means you come from a place of inner fullness, so you don't need to manipulate, force, or control relationships. You're able to give without fear, receive without guilt, and walk away without hate when something no longer aligns. This kind of love is magnetic. It draws in people who are on your frequency, who feel seen by your presence and nourished by your energy. Alongside love, Openness is essential. So many people walk through life guarded, afraid to be seen, afraid to be rejected, afraid to get hurt again. And it's understandable, life wounds us. But those same walls that protect you also isolate you. They keep out the pain, yes, but they also keep out joy, connection, and growth. To find your soul tribe, you have to be willing to open up. You have to be willing to show who you really are, not the edited version, not the polished persona, but the real, raw, vulnerable you. Openness isn't about oversharing or spilling your heart to everyone you meet. It's about being emotionally available. It's about showing up without pretending, without playing games, without hiding your feelings behind sarcasm or silence. It's about saying, "This is me. I'm not perfect, but I'm real." That level of honesty invites others to meet you with the same energy. It creates space for depth instead of surface-level interaction. It opens the door to connection that is soul, deep, not skin, deep. But how do you know who to open up to? How do you know when to lead with love and when to protect yourself? This is where intuition becomes your compass. Intuition is that quiet inner voice that always knows what's right for you, even when logic or fear tries to talk you out of it. It's the feeling in your gut, the nudge in your heart, the whisper in your soul. When it comes to relationships, your intuition is a powerful guide. It can sense when something feels right, even if you can't explain why. It can also sense when something feels off, even if there's no obvious reason. Leading with intuition means learning to trust yourself again. It means pausing to listen to what your body is telling you. Does this person's energy feel calming or chaotic? Do you feel safe and inspired or drained and anxious after being with them? You don't need a long list of reasons to walk away from something that doesn't feel aligned. Your feelings are enough. Your intuition is valid. The more you trust it, the more aligned your relationships become. When you combine love, openness, and intuition, you begin to lead with your soul rather than your ego. You stop seeking connections that validate your wounds and start attracting ones that support your healing. You stop trying to impress or chase and begin to attract naturally. People are drawn to authenticity, to warmth, to presence. And when your energy is grounded in love, openness, and intuitive wisdom, the right people will recognize you. Not because of what you say or do, but because of how you make them feel. Your soul tribe is not looking for a perfect version of you. They are looking for your real self. They are looking for someone whose heart beats in rhythm with theirs, whose spirit speaks the same language even in silence, and they will find you, not when you're hiding, pretending, or performing, but when you are simply being. Loving, open, intuitive, so take off the mask, lead with love, let your heart guide you, not your fear. Be open enough to be seen. Be brave enough to trust your instincts. The people who are meant for you will feel your energy and recognize it instantly. And in that moment, you'll understand that love was never something you had to chase. It was something you had to become, and by becoming it, you attract it. That is the path to finding your soul tribe, not searching outward, but aligning inward. Not seeking love, but being love. Not chasing connection, but making space for it through your presence. The rest will come. The right people will come. All you have to do is lead the way. With love, with openness, and with trust in your beautiful inner knowing. In this life, you are not meant to walk alone. Your tribe exists. They are out there growing, healing, searching just like you. The path to finding them begins with alignment. So be authentic. Heal deeply. Create space, stay open. And trust that the right people will find you when your soul is ready. Because when you find your soul tribe, life shifts. You don't just feel connected, you feel understood. You don't just feel loved, you feel seen. And in that sacred bond, you begin to rise into the fullness of who you were always meant to be. Your soul is not lost. It's just waiting for its family to come home. God bless you.